Mati.
Oi.
Our story opens in Indonesia, back in 2009, where the school bell chimes a mere 5 minutes after classes begin. Abruptly, an announcement informs students that riots have broken out, compelling the cancellation of all today's lessons. Children are urged to make their way home with utmost speed. 2 siblings and one of their classmates board a bus hastily. During this period, the nation was mired in an economic crisis, crime had soared beyond control, and locals frequently unleashed their rage on people of Chinese descent residing in Indonesia. They were blamed as the root of all their woes. The mob bellows upon seeing the bus. Chinese people, get out, children of pigs, and then a massive crowd enveloped the bus. Some men armed with weapons entered and dragged a girl outside. This girl's name was Sylvie. Sylvie, who favored a punk rock style. To protect her, her friend steps forward. The men ask him, "Are you Chinese too?" He replies, "No, sir." The men demand, "Then why are you defending them?" and slash his hand in fury. Edwin lunges to shield his sister, but he suffers a deep gash on his head, and he loses consciousness. When he awakens, his sister has vanished. To conceal his identity, Edwin smudges his face with black powder, so no one will assume he is Chinese, and flees towards his house. But upon arriving there, his home and his parents have both been consumed by fire. 18 years have now elapsed, and even in 2027, the hatred for Chinese people persists. It is a small minority's struggle for equality. Edwin, now a grown man, constantly hides his face beneath a cap. He attempts to work as a teacher, but over the last 2 years, he was forced to change schools 5 times. At last, he gets assigned to a school, one notorious for its disruptive teenage students. The previous teachers had all fled from there. The student body was completely out of control, and for an educator of Chinese heritage, managing them was an even greater challenge. Edwin enters the classroom and offers his introduction with a "Good morning. I am your new class teacher." He instructs the students to take their seats, but they toss bags and openly mock him. A bully, Jeffrey, taunts him by calling him a clone, but Edwin cleverly puts him in his place. Edwin teaches art, stating, "The garbage that is scattered here is the effort of a weak person." Another teacher, Diana, queries him during the break. "How was your first day?" Edwin smiles, replying, "It was not so bad. At least nobody has died yet." But the true danger still lurked outside. Because after their misdeeds at school, the bullies enjoyed hunting Chinese people. A Chinese man is cornered on the street. His car is smashed, and the unfortunate man is beaten for a long time. He endures vicious insults. In the evening, Edwin visits a Chinese bar. When he departs from there and heads home, he witnesses a peculiar scene along the way. Some kids are assaulting an Indonesian boy. Edwin immediately intervenes to save him. When he gets a closer look, he realizes that this is one of his own students. Witnessing this, Edwin is reminded of his sister Sylvia. Sylvia had survived that day's riot, but she now battles a severe illness. Following that ordeal, Sylvia became a mother to a son. But she currently does not know her son's whereabouts. She made her brother Edwin promise to locate her nephew. That very boy is now enrolled in high school. Here, goons and unruly students become enraged because this time Chinese people had struck one of their classmates. Now they craved vengeance. In the following class, Edwin assigns the children a drawing project. Jeffrey, who consistently caused trouble, once again dismisses the teacher's instructions. He even considers assaulting the teacher. But Edwin reasons with him, "Who are you waiting for? If you strike a teacher in school, you will be expelled." Jeffrey sits down quietly, seething. A student named Krista creates an excellent drawing. Seeing it, Edwin offers her praise. At the class's conclusion, all the children hand in their drawings. But Jeffrey rips his drawing to shreds before giving it to the teacher. Meanwhile, outside the school, the same thugs are engrossed in their plotting. At an abandoned construction site, they have bound a Chinese boy who was transported in the car's trunk. He is forcibly marched up the stairs. Laughing, they declare, "This is our revenge." After savagely beating the poor boy, they imprison him inside a room. Their plan was that when they grew tired of him, they would kill him again. Perhaps they might feed him occasionally, but they would keep him alive purely for torture. Diana once more invites Edwin. Come on, let's visit a Chinese bar. The bartender there becomes angry seeing Edwin because he was not Indonesian. But then the music halts in the bar and a news report appears on TV. Tension is escalating across the country. Perhaps the same riots, the same thugs were poised to erupt again, just as they had 18 years prior. As they exit the bar, Edwin and Diana ask each other jokingly, who needs to leave home at night? A woman or a Chinese person? The answer is instantly apparent. The greatest danger in this country is faced by Chinese people, and so it happens. On the way, a masked figure attacks Edwin. It was none other than Jeffrey. His friends watch the spectacle from the car. Jeffrey brandishes a knife, but fortune does not favor him. In his rage, the knife strikes him and he himself is injured. With his friend's assistance, Jeffrey escapes in the car. The next morning, Edwin reports everything to the principal. Jeffrey denies everything, but the truth cannot be hidden. When he is commanded, take off your pants now, the deep wounds on his legs are plainly visible. The principal says angrily, your parents brought you into the world for nothing. But now the proof was undeniable. Jeffrey's gang was guilty. This is why those bullies are expelled from school. The principal felt that Edwin should have prevented all this sooner. Because for the first time in the last 10 years, a student had to be expelled. In retaliation, Jeffrey and his gang resolved that they would boycott their teacher. She abandons the entire class and walks out. At this moment, Edwin asks Chris and his friend to help decorate the class. These two boys seem decent, so Edwin trusts them. But Jeffrey still had only one thing on his mind: revenge against his teacher. At night, Chris and his friend genuinely arrive at the class for decorating. There, Diana is also expecting them. There is also some lighthearted fun. Then the security guards receive news that riots have also ignited in their area. They abandon the school and return home. This was a golden opportunity for Jeffrey and his gang. Now they could murder ordinary Chinese people without any restraint. The gang armed themselves with knives, rods, and blades and infiltrated the school. Rango spotted them and immediately sprints to alert everyone. The gang was searching for Edwin throughout the entire corridor. Edwin attempted to leave via the emergency exit, but it was gate-locked. At the last second, they are all trapped inside the gym. It was futile to expect any help from the police. It was also mired in the riots. Edwin decides, I'll go to them, they only want me. Everyone else stops him. Have you gone insane? They will kill you. Because they had already murdered a student. Turns out Jeffrey had also recorded that missing student's execution and created a video. Edwin explains that if they murder me, they won't leave you as witnesses either. Then Rango's father arrives at school to collect his son. Jeffrey's gang permits him inside, but leads him straight to the gym. Rango yells, Dad, run! But it was too late. The gang began beating the poor man and threatened, we will pull your eyes out of your stomach now. A boy from the gang, Sin, says, stop it, this is all going too far. But a sadistic thug named Harry picks up a pencil and slowly begins to push it into his body. He screams, I didn't do anything. Edwin attempts to calm the poor man down, but his every word infuriates Jeffrey even more. Edwin negotiates with the hooligans. I will come before them only when the other hostages leave safely. The thugs consented to this and departed, but this was merely a ruse. Edwin very shrewdly pulled Rango's father and brought him inside the gym. Rango was still furious with the teacher. We could have all gone. So why did you stop us? It was difficult for Edwin to trust those hooligans. He says, Jeff, our deal remains the same. I'll come out. Jeffrey shouts, I don't trust you. Edwin says, we can't do anything else. Trust me. The gang moves away again. Rango and his father were about to depart. Edwin instructs them to open the gym door from the parking side. Neither of them were really told anything. But as soon as Jeffrey sprints toward the gym, Edwin promptly locks the door again. 15 minutes have passed, but Rango doesn't return to open the door. He assumes they must have gone. No, maybe they are somewhere nearby. Rango and his father were captured as hostages again. Jeffrey commands Raichon, get the gasoline canister. When Raichon goes outside, the police arrive at the school and see a boy siphoning petrol from the car. They question him, but then the cops get an order, get out of here, we need help with riot control. Abdu is made to kneel in the gym. Jeffrey threatens, "If Edwin doesn't come out in 5 seconds, I'll burn Rango's father alive." The countdown begins, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the devil makes good on his threat. Rango's father is set ablaze before him. The poor boy shrieks in shock. In a rage, Rango rushes toward the door, but he is still locked inside. 2 goons pursue him with cleavers. Rango fights back against them, but the cleaver is plunged into Sin's stomach. The blood pours out. The other boy says through tears, "He was our friend." Jeffrey says furiously, "Did you think I would let him go? He would tell the cops everything." Jeffrey realizes that Sin is the weak link. He has only one thought on his mind: kill everyone, teachers, students, then place their bodies inside this burning building. No one will ever learn who killed them. Meanwhile, Edwin admits to Diana, "I never wanted to be a teacher." The truth was that his sister had passed away 2 years before. He only switched schools so that he could find his long-lost nephew. And today he had kept Christ here because he believes he is the son of Sylvia. Then Edwin's eyes land on a ray of light on the floor. He finds a way. Through the teacher's attic, he conceals himself in an old toilet. Edwin climbs up and crawls inside the ventilation shaft. At the same time, Sin says on the other side, "I have to go to the toilet." Jeff and Gary follow him with suspicion. Edwin emerges from the toilet just as Sin also enters. Edwin hides inside a stall. Sin sits on the toilet and contemplates what to do next. But suddenly Jeffrey enters and he murdered his own friend by slashing Sin with a cleaver. Edwin is horrified to see all this. Why did you kill him? Just because he went to the toilet? The remaining gang members are tense. Now they realize that their lives are also in jeopardy. Edwin secretly makes his way to the guard post and locates the key for the spare exit. Meanwhile, Jeffrey smashes the gym door again. A thug suggests getting a burner from the chemistry lab. "We will burn it and open it." And the burner actually works. The gym door breaks, but there is no one inside. Dina and Christ also escaped through the ventilation shaft. The chief becomes enraged and commands everyone to divide into small groups and find them. The fugitives take cover in the biology office. 2 members of the gang argue that Sin deserved it. He was a coward. The other says no. Being a coward doesn't mean you have to die at the hands of your friend. Edwin gives the key to Dina and says, "You 2 run away. I'll create a distraction." Then 2 thugs spot him in the corridor. Edwin tries to reason with them, but they charge him. One thug jams a large bone into his stomach. The other thug begins choking Edwin. But Edwin swiftly grabs the burner and sears his face. Now only 2 remain, but they are also considering how to escape. It is not their priority to find Edwin now. Edwin confronts Gary. He tries to calm him down, but Gary pounces on him like an animal. Edwin throws him to the ground, but Edwin gives him another chance to flee. But he attempts to attack Edwin again and he falls and dies. On the other hand, Dina tells Chris that Edwin believes you are his nephew. Chris says in disbelief, "This is impossible." Both of them quietly descend the emergency ladder, while Edwin finally comes face to face with Jeffrey. There was no use in talking. Jeffrey was completely unhinged. In the toilet, Jeffrey strikes Edwin with a barrel lid and gashes his head open. Then he starts to tear at his head with a chisel. A crazed schoolboy attempts to kill Edwin in 1,000 ways, but the teacher answers every single time. The gang returns to the corridor. Edwin twisted the Jeffrey thug. Hearing his scream, everyone else fled. Edwin tells them, "You still have a future. Don't ruin yourself like Jeffrey. Just go away." And indeed, all 3 of them drop their weapons one by one and flee. But Jeffrey's rage only intensifies. He picks himself up and lunges at Edwin. Jeffrey breaks the teacher's finger and then slashes him. He falls on him with kicks and punches and attempts to kill him by crushing his neck. But at the final moment, Edwin shoves him and a steel rod impales Jeffrey's neck, which kills him. Edwin pauses for a moment. He feels a little sorry for this madman. Then a rioting mob breaks into the school from the outside. Their purpose is only looting. Whatever valuables they find, they snatch. Edwin watches a video in which Jeffrey was brutally killing his classmate just because he called him Chinese. From this video, it is discovered where Jeffrey himself says, "Yes, my mother was really Chinese, my father was not one. There was a whole mob, a crowd of rapists." It is clear from this that at the story's beginning, when they abducted Edwin's sister, they also raped her there. Edwin's heart shatters when he remembers Jeffrey, who just died by his hands, was his own blood. His sister, Sylvie's lost son, after so many years of searching, and when he learned the truth, he could not save him. But the rioters discover the truth that there is a Chinese person among them, and they chase after Edwin. At the last second, a car screeches to a halt. A man pulls Edwin in and saves him. This is none other but that same fan, Sylvie's friend, who was unsuccessful in his attempt to save her that day. For 18 years, he carried a burden on his heart that he could not save Sylvie. Since then, he had dedicated his life to those people who were suffering from oppression. Now the city was not filled with people, it was filled with hate. Every street, every square was ablaze with fire, robbery, blood, and screams as if humanity itself had perished. But amidst that madness, a small boy who was free from prejudice sees a Chinese boy, the same boy who was first captured by Jeffrey and his gang. He unties him and saves his life, and this is where our story concludes today.